Morning, Year 9. So, today we're looking at tree diagrams. So, with tree diagrams, they call it a tree diagram because it actually looks like a tree on its side. So, what we're doing when we're doing tree diagrams is we're looking at all the possible outcomes. So, say for example, we toss a coin. We have two possible outcomes. We can get a head or we can get a tail. So we can write our sample space as a head or as a tail. This is our list of outcomes. And this here is our sample space. Now that's all well and good for a nice simple example like just throwing a dice once, but let's have a look at something a bit hard. So here's our triple coin toss. So in the first instance we can either get a head or a tail. Second instance we can either get a head or a tail, and in third instance we can either get a head or a tail, which leaves us with our outcomes. So sometimes you'll be asked questions like, what's the probability of getting at least two tails? So we got at least two, at least two, at least two, at least two. So we got four possibles out of, so this is a probability of two or more tails. We got four out of our possible outcomes out of our 8 possible outcomes, which is the same as 1 out of 2. We can get asked to do that, or we can get asked to do things like this, rolling a 4-sided dice and then tossing a coin, and we have to make our own. So first off, we deal with the first one first. We can either get a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4. And after we've rolled our dice, we can either get a head or a tail, a head or a tail, a head or a tail, a head or a tail. I like to write my outcomes out first, so I like to show where they all go. It makes it just a little bit easier to draw the tree diagram reasonably neatly. And then the next thing we'd write out is our outcomes or our sample space. Outcomes. So we can get, for this bottom one here, I'll use my green. I've got a 4 and a tail. 4 and a head. 3 tail, 3 head. 2 tail, 2 head. 1 tail, 1 head. And I can see that now I've got each one of my outcomes listed, and that's my sample space for this exercise. Playing 3 games of soccer. Now the good thing about soccer is, unlike AFL, we've got 3 really quite similar outcomes that happen around about the same amount. We can either win, lose, or draw. And if we're playing 3 games, there's our first game. So we've got win, lose, draw, win, lose, draw, win, lose, draw. We can go to another layer, win, lose, draw, 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 win, lose, draw. Let's go a bit further across. Win, lose, draw. Win, lose, draw. And the last one, win, lose, draw. As you can see, they can get quite complicated very quickly. not too bad. 3 games of soccer. There are all the possible outcomes, and we can go through and we can write WWW, WWL, WWD, and we can go through and list them all for each one of our outcomes. So it just depends on what the question's asking you, but they can get very complicated, but it helps if you set them out nice and neatly. Have a good day.